The thing has managed to cut through Colin's chains and a little bit of his foot.
That's all right. I've still got the right one. You only need one, right?
I'm really grateful right now. It's only got a tiny chainsaw and it managed to get wedged in what's left of your foot.
Yeah.
Now,
You're welcome.
if you come through, we found the counter. The Twitter followers counter. It's currently at 1. We need to work harder and we need to work quicker because the air's starting to taste like metal, which is either the blood from your wound getting into the air or we're starting to run out of oxygen. So, back to horror games.
Yeah.
My favourite horror game is Dark Souls.
Dark Souls? Okay. Right.
Dark Souls. Now, I'm going to ask this question for all the viewers, the one viewer, who is going to wonder this.
Thanks, Mum.
Dark Souls, not Bloodborne.
No.
Okay, now this might be Colin's bloodlust speaking, but is it really horrific? I mean, it's certainly tense because I'm scared of dying all the time.
What do you need? What makes a horror game? What are the ingredients that make a horror game?
For us, seemingly, we need dread.
Okay, so I've never been as scared playing a game as full of dread as when I've got all the souls in the world and I have to fight some horrible boss in Dark Souls.
Okay.
It fills me with joy. I literally fighting a boss, and when you get that boss, maybe on your 27th attempt, down to a slither of its hit points, you're out of Estus flasks, and you're one hit away from dying. I've literally been shaking. My limbs have felt hollow with that dread.
I will
don't
agree
want
with
to
you
die.
on that.
Yeah.
I have shaken the controller loose, I'm sure, more than once. Where it's nearly dead, it's nearly dead, it's nearly dead, but so am I.
There's been quite a
No
few
time to heal because the Estus flask takes 1.5 million years.
Yeah.
Or no, I've only got a couple left, and I'm going around the corner in Blighttown, and I know there's something that can kill me with very little hits. And I'm very, okay.
Well,
the dread is definitely
to add
there.
on to the dread, I mean, that is kind of almost a gameplay function with the dread in Dark Souls.
Yeah.
For me, atmosphere.
So, the atmosphere for me of Dark Souls, you are entirely alone in this world. The people that you meet are all insane. Every single NPC
Mad.
becomes hollow, goes mad, or finishes their sentences by going, "I'll see you soon."
Yes.
They're all crazy. They're all insane.
We're presuming that. I mean, it might just be that they're in a situation similar to ours and trapped in a voice booth.
There is a
With a little
merchant trapped
little
behind
thing.
a sewer grate who goes, "Don't worry, it's safe in here."
And then he says, "Keep bringing me things to Smith. I don't want to lose my mind in here."
Yeah.
So, for me, I mean, the atmosphere as well, it's got that...
Empty.
That empty. The world is empty. It was once grand. It's falling apart. Lots of horror takes place in sort of ruined locations, and the whole world has been ruined. And the thing that gets me as well is that at any moment you can be invaded. Yes, you can play without your humanity, but you need your humanity. You need it to be able to summon help. You often need it if you want to collect the good items.
It's stats with weapon damage.
Yes, there's certain things.
Faith, which was essential for my character, being a faith healer.
Yes. So for me, that aspect of it, again, it adds to the dread, but the atmosphere is something really bad and random could happen at any moment.
Bleak, dark.
You're never entirely sure what's coming around the corner with where he's going.
Okay. Yeah.
What else do you need for a horror game?
Jump scares, technically, but we don't like those anyway. So
Okay. You know the aqueduct, Dark Souls. There's the aqueduct that you traipse around inside to get to the Undead Burg, the first main location in the thing.
Yeah.
About 20 hours later, in my very first playthrough of Dark Souls, I managed to unlock the other end of the aqueduct. It's unlocking a shortcut back through to the main area. I stepped through the door and someone laughed and there was a hollow there, so I jumped, pressed the attack button, and killed the merchant that sells the cures for being cursed.
Yeah.
In a single hit.
Yeah.
The woman locked behind the in the sewer.
It has made me jump. It has made me
panic.
Actually, have that panic.
Going back
feel.
to the undead asylum and immediately falling through the floor, I did not see that coming.
Yeah, it's a jump
I
scare
just
moment.
ran and then nearly jumped off my sofa when I just went, whee! Oh, here's a boss, and I'm now at half health because I've fallen through the floor.
It's not built round them, but it does include those jump scares, those moments where
Mimics.
an enemy you couldn't see. Mimics, yeah. The first time a mimic got me, I nearly died. Literally in real life. I died in the game.
I spent the rest of the game terror. I hit every chest in the game after that because I was. I would walk up to a chest, I would switch to two-handed, and I would do a strong attack at every chest I saw because there was no way that bastard thing was biting my head off.
Really?
Again. Yeah.
I did read somewhere actually, and through this other playthrough, I'm going to try it when I come across it because I haven't come across the mimics in this one yet. The item you could throw down on the floor when you're invaded that stops them using Estus flasks.
Yes.
I can't remember what it's called now. Something amulet.
Yes, the tallies. The
Lloyd's talisman
Lloyd's
or something.
talisman.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Actually makes the it calms the mimic chests down.
They,
so
they go to sleep, open their mouths, and their tongues loll out, and you can take the
I've
item.
heard that now. At the time of playing, I had absolutely no idea you could.
Yeah, no. I didn't.
Colin, you completed the entire game unaware that you could press forward and R2 and do a jumping attack, which is the way I killed most of the enemies in the game, by baiting them into an attack, stepping out the range, and then jumping forward and hitting them with my big sword.
I use parry.
Yeah, well, that's because you're some magician savant at parrying.
Those trigger fingers are stuck. Every time I pick up a controller, I have to click left trigger, right, whatever it is.
Right trigger. No, it isn't trigger, is it? It's the right button on the Xbox, because that's probably what we all played on.
L1, R2. There you go.
L1, R1.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Parrying is L2, and then the attack is R1.
Yeah. That's L2, R1.
You just press the buttons. Yeah. Now, this is a man who's great at parrying, and he doesn't know what he's pressing. He's just spamming the keys.
You're the Rain Man of Dark Souls. Souls game. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
you're the Goodwill Hunting action RPGs.
Whatever it is, I know how to do it.
That makes you Matt Damon.
Oh God. Okay, yeah, I think you're actually
explain
right.
some of your more questionable views.
I think you are actually right about the horror game.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's got the atmosphere, it's got the dread, it's got the fear.
But why have you not picked Bloodborne?
Because I like Dark Souls more.
Okay.
I enjoyed Dark Souls more. I spent twice as long playing it. I've completed Bloodborne and I enjoyed it. It was a great game.
Yeah.
It is the reason I bought my PS4 and I haven't regretted that.
As I recall, it's the reason we all bought our PS4s.
Yeah. Yes. So well done on the exclusives.
Yeah. Well done, Sony, on that one, actually.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that something really shiny comes along for the Xbox One so I can justify buying one of those, but at the moment I can't.
No.
But yes, it was a choice between the two. I've been an Xbox gamer for 10 years.
Yeah, same.
I bought the PS3.
No, stuck with Xbox away from
No, see, I swapped
quite late, but I kept my Xbox. But I bought some of the exclusives appealed to me on that, and I've now. I would say swap sides, but I don't think there's any sides. I think
you just play what's got what seems to play the games best, or what's got the best selection.
Yeah, what's got the best games. That's what the console war's about.
Yeah.
As you can probably read in my article, that I've posted about PS Plus vs Xbox Live, is because for me, it's because Sony offer more with stuff. The paid subscription you have to pay to play online, so I get nicer things for it. Whereas I don't feel like I get
free games each month is
Yeah,
selection just feels a bit better.
But yeah, to me, Dark Souls from the very beginning felt like a horror game. I mean, the themes of the game, if you want to think like themes of horror,
the decay of the world,
the whole world's falling apart. You've got decay.
It really is because you're
madness. And you've got that entropy, that falling apart. I love the idea that the hollows you meet, just in my mind, are the players that gave up.
That, actually, from the very beginning, that horrified me. Not that I looked at them at the players that had given up and they turned hollow, because if I didn't solve the problem, that was me soon.
Yeah.
Because every time you die, you're supposed to become a bit more hollow. It didn't go in a game mechanic way, but you were told you are going to go hollow by the crestfallen warrior, as I recall.
Yeah.
Crestfallen knight.
Yeah.
Turned around and went, you're going to go hollow soon.
And then he goes hollow.
And then he goes hollow. But the idea is that I'm going to end up as one of them, just standing on the spot, waiting for the next non-hollow to come, was horrendous.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I mean, Bloodborne was more overtly horror. It had more of the overt horror tropes. It had werewolves and you're a vampire. I'm sorry, you replenish yourself by plunging your face into the blood of enemies as it's fresh. You're a vampire. Sorry. It has Cthulhu-esque things coming out of the moon.
Literally Cthulhu at certain points.
Yeah.
I think the horror in Dark Souls is more subtle, but I think it's built into the game more. I think
it's
the death is
part of the gameplay rather than the narrative, which is nice.
And I like the horror. Horror thrives on not knowing what's going on. It's that fear of the unknown.
Yes, yeah.
And I had absolutely no idea what I was doing in Dark Souls.
It's not until halfway through the game someone says to you, "Oh yeah, go do this."
Well, no, the Crestfallen Warrior in the Firelink Shrine says you need to ring the two bells.
Oh yeah, but for what bloody reason?
You don't know why.
And I didn't know where the bells were, and I went the wrong way.
That's the other thing that it does. There's 3 paths you can take from Firelink Shrine. You can go up to the Undead Burg, which is kind of like a training area. It teaches you how to play the game. Yeah. You fight some very simple enemies. You can go through the graveyard to try to get to the catacombs, with much nastier enemies. You can go all the way down and try to go into New Londo, where you immediately meet ghosts that you cannot kill. Yep. No one tells you how to kill them, and you die. Horror, unbeatable enemies.
I went to the graveyard. I gave up. Yeah. Because I thought when the skeletons first appeared, I went, haha, it's dead. Oh, it's back up. No, it's okay. It's going to be like The Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
Ocarina of Time, they had skeletons. You had to kill them twice for them to actually die. I thought it was going to be that. After about the 5th or 6th attempt, I then went down, still not seeing the stairs. I did not see the stairs, and ran into the ghost, and then I think I put the game down for a few hours and frantically text Brian, going, where am I going? What am I doing? Oh, what do you mean this? Oh, the stairs.
Yeah, I did exactly the same thing, exactly the same order as well. It was just, I completely missed that as a way to go. I had to find something online.
It's actually quite well hidden.
It's incredibly well.
It looks like the side of a
cliff.
But
it also looks more frightening than the other options, because you've only got a skeleton or 2 in the graveyard, where you've got the stairs with several enemies guarding
they're much easier to kill enemies.
Yeah, but when you first approach
I think I also, and I'm horrifically ashamed of myself for it, but I'd got used to the hand-holding of recent games.
Yeah.
Go that way, there's a shiny arrow pointing you, and there's a mini-map with a location beacon
with a little dot on it.
With a little dot, which, as growing up, I didn't have. Growing up in the SNES era, they were very much
deal with it.
Go on, go do something. But I've got used to it in later generations of my gaming consoles, and to go back to, well, off you go ring the bells. What?
Yeah.
Where? Well, where's my map?
What do all these bits mean on the screen? I don't understand anything. What's happening?
What's that? Oh, there's a path here. Oh, I'm dead.
I mean, one of the things I did in Dark Souls was I completed the first area. I went to the Firelink Shrine. I lit the thing, and there was a little sign in front of the Crestfallen Warrior that said something along the lines of hit him or kill him, or attackful treasure, or something similar.
Yeah.
So I hit him and annoyed him, and he killed me, and then I woke up next to him and he hit me, and I died over and over and over again. And I deleted that character and did the beginning again.
I made my character unplayable because of bad building. With my first character, after 56 hours, I got to Anor Londo, went up against one of the giants, never played that character again. Built a new character and got to Anor Londo in under 5 hours, and ran up to a giant and beat it to death.
Yeah.
Went, oh, I built a bad character on my first one.
That's the only thing I'm going to say dislike possibly about.
Yeah, no, I think it's perfectly valid.
I liked Bloodborne a little bit more because
it's a bit gentler to new players.
I started Dark Souls and then I quit it and never finished it the first time.
You were one of those. Not like the two of us over here.
We had to fight your hollows so many times, dude.
Ruin everybody else's game.
It to
Remember that one with the sideways beard?
One of the reasons I liked Bloodborne a little bit better was because theoretically you could play it through without ever having levelled up. It would be very difficult, but you theoretically complete without levelling up.
You can do that with Dark Souls, and people have done it, but it's much harder.
Yes,
definitely.
I will say, having played
bad build badly in Bloodborne, you can put some stats.
We've only got
things.
5 stats.
There's a few less. Yeah,
you've got healthy, stamina-y, hitty, dodgy.
That's it.
Bloody, bully, shooty, magicy. So it's still 7. 6 or 7?
6.
6.
Whereas in...
Can't count.
But I think all the melee weapons go off strength, skill.
No.
There's a couple of blood tinge ones, but the majority of weapons go off skill and strength, and there is only 10, 12 different weapons.
Yes.
Whereas in Dark Souls, you've got a couple of 100 different weapons.
Yeah.
That could work off dex, could work off strength, could work off magic, could work off faith, could work off combinations of the 4, and you're just sitting there going, I found this really cool weapon, but it's nowhere near my stats.
And you've got magic, and you've got
faith,
and you can
and armour.
It's just so much deeper to me and richer. You can take a weapon and you can you get everything. Is it plus 10 in Bloodborne, and then it can go forever.
Yeah, plus 10.
Whereas Dark Souls, you get it to the plus 10, then you can ascend it, then you can turn it into a different type of weapon.
Yeah, fire weapons, lightning weapons. I had a plus 15 raw katana.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't necessarily make it any more of a horror game, if we talk about it from a horror point of view. I just found the game deeper and richer. For the amount of different systems and things that were interlocking. You can upgrade your armour, for instance, whereas in Bloodborne you've got 47 very similar outfits.
Yeah, they really don't make anything different.
Well, it's about 20, isn't it?
Yeah. I will say, with the atmosphere in particular, the feeling of isolation and loneliness and the insanity was definitely stronger in Dark Souls than Bloodborne.
Yeah.
Bloodborne.
It was a more epic quest, I felt.
Yeah, Bloodborne half the time I felt as if it was the city's own fault. And everybody had what was coming to them.
I felt Dark Souls, you were on your own. I think having the hub world in Bloodborne, you had somewhere safe you could go back to. And you could chat to the doll, who I love. We
all love the doll. Yeah. It was nice to have a friend in a From Software game.
She broke my heart
with the prayer.
When I came across her praying to the grave, praying that me, the hunter, would be safe.
Absolutely shattered me.
Punch me in the punch me right in the feels, as they say.
I get what you mean though, because when you rested at a bonfire in Dark Souls, most 99% of the time there was an enemy standing outside the doorway
watching you.
Can I hit you? So the moment you rested and then stood back up, you went, ugh. Yeah. There was no, I'm going to stand in this very pretty, slightly eerie garden and wave my sword around and possibly take all my clothes off and enjoy myself. It was, oh god, I'm walking straight back into a fight.
It was much easier to get to positions in Dark Souls where you survive by the skin of your teeth and you reach a bonfire and you sit down and you get replenished, then you go, actually I can't get out of here because that was really hard.
Bugger, they've all just respawned.
Everything's just respawned, and then you're like, well, I need to go back to the blacksmith and up my weapons. I've got the equipment, I can't teleport anywhere.
That's a trek and a half to...
Oh god, and it felt just like that just immersed me so much more. I could see for Bloodborne you've got It's a Dream, you can move about, it let them string the world out in a different way. But I so much preferred that interlocking system. Yes. It plunged me into it more. It's like, okay, oh my god, I found a shortcut back to Firelink Shrine. 40 hours into the game, I've unlocked one from the Valley of Drakes, for instance, and gone, I'm here again. This is so good. Yeah. I could go and rest. I could do this. And I could talk to my friend the pyromancer who I haven't. Oh, he's gone.
Yeah.
Where's he gone?
That was something else Bloodborne never did. Once you saved the NPCs, yes, there were circumstances in which they could die, but
only one.
You had control. Whereas in Dark Souls, there was absolutely no. You saved these people. At one point, I had 4, maybe 5 NPCs. You had. Oh yeah, at one point I had 5 NPCs all at the firelink.
Yeah,
right? The pyromancer, the 2 wizards, the crestfallen knight, and the priest. And it felt really nice. And then one by one,
they all just drift away.
Starting with the crestfallen, and then the pyromancer, and then the wizards, and then the priest, and then you get some more priests back, and then they disappear. And there's no control over what's going on, and you're just left. And then you see them in a location and go, "Oh no, they're running at me." They're gone. And I had a nice conversation with that person, and he thanked me for rescuing him, and now he's just pulled a sword out at me.
Yeah. I mean, I found it. I mean, I enjoyed that game no end. I did find it's dark. I found it quite horrific. It had all the themes and trappings of horror. It's not so overtly horrific.
Yeah.
I actually found bits of it. The fight with Sif. Have you fought Sif yet, Aaron?
No.
Put your fingers in your ears. This will be really hard for you to edit.
No, it's fine.
Do you know Sif?
The giant wolf.
No. I think is it the forests?
He's the boss.
Yeah.
When you unlock the crest,
you're aware of him.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
so,
are we okay to spoil?
It's right. We've done this over and over again. So we could do it.
I don't want to spoil. People out there, they should have played this long ago. We've convinced Aaron to play this game.
Well, we say the words, "Are we going to spoil this?" You know to jump ahead a few minutes at a time to check see where we're going.
It's more for you, we mean.
No, I'm fine with it. It's been completely fine. It's my own fault for quitting when I did.
Good point.
Punish.
Yes, I know exactly what you're going to be talking about, though, because I felt exactly the same.
I felt horrible for killing that boss.
Yeah.
I felt like the worst person. Colin looks really sad. I felt like the worst person in the world, but in order to complete my quest, I had to kill this creature.
Do you know what's worse?
And to me, that was horrific. It was a horrific thing that I did, and it really pulled on my heartstrings.
It's worse when you read the item descriptions on a couple of the items that you get after that plot line, because that boss didn't want to kill you.
No, he just wanted to drive you away.
That boss was driving you away because what you were collecting was probably one of the most dangerous things that left on this planet.
Yes.
And once I realised that and went, he wasn't trying to kill me, he was trying to save me. And when it started, because it's a giant wolf and it starts limping near the end of its life and tries to run away from you.
Yeah.
And I mercilessly chased after it and hacked at that limping leg, going, ha 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 ha, you're mine now. And then thinking back to that, going, oh my god, he was trying to save me.
Did you play the DLC?
No, because I've lost the internet at that point in my life.
So in the DLC, just to make it even worse, so in the downloadable content,
I've seen this bit on the video. Yeah.
You can summon Sif.
Yeah.
He's normal dog size. He still has the sword, but it's the size of the sword that you make that's the equivalent.
Yeah.
And he helps you fight. I think it's the very last boss of the DLC.
The very boss whose grave he's protecting in the original game.
Yes. So he helps you. Now, if you kill that boss first and then you go and fight Sif, he remembers you and he bows to you before he tries to drive you away. At which point I felt like my heart had been ripped out of my chest.
That's the worst thing ever. Because
they changed that scene. It's very subtle.
They changed it so that you fought with me, and I know what you've got to do, but I have to stop you.
Yeah.
The thing that's so good about from top of the Dark Souls series is these little tiny touches that
it's full of them. They're kind of mastercrafted. Yeah. They've got that love and attention to them. Bloodborne, I loved Bloodborne,
Yeah.
as I said, but it didn't ever get me in that way,
No.
apart from that one moment with the doll. That was the strongest emotional connection. Now,
I would argue Father Gascoigne did a little bit for me. It's very early on, so again, spoilers, but not massive
wow,
ones.
it's been out for 6 years.
Everyone's read the Wikipedia page by now, I'm sure.
Yeah, my mum was talking to me about it last week.
Exactly.
Well, you can get hold of a little music box for Father Gascoigne. It's given to you by his daughter.
Yes.
Because, my mum's gone missing. Normally she plays this for Dad, and it calms him down, and he comes home, and you find him, and you play it, and it pains him to hear that, because he's lost him. He's losing himself, and you're reminding him of that little bit of humanity just before you brutally murder him.
Yeah.
And that kind of broke me, especially after finding like his wife dead on the side, and then going back to the daughter and telling her, and then finding in the sewers a few little bit later on,
and then her sister,
bloodied cloth. That's all that's left of her.
Yeah, and then her sister after that.
Yeah,
I don't know if anyone went back to the window.
I didn't get the sister.
Once you go to the, she goes, "Have you seen my sister? She was crying because of my mum. I said I'd look after her. Do you know where she's gone?" And if you tell her, I didn't have the heart to tell her where she was, that she was dead. If you do, you find a second ribbon in the sewer where the pig was.
Yeah.
Take a different route.
Go
a different way. It's a different way. I unlocked it.
Counter argument for that moment, however, which I think compared to From Software's level of detail, like the Sith encounter where he will bow to you if you do the DLC first. When you go into New Game Plus, you can summon Father Gascoigne to help you with the first boss.
Okay.
Because he's still human at that point. He's not inhuman till you reach his boss fight. I summoned him just because I saw a summon sign, didn't know who it was until Father Gascoigne appears, and I initially shat myself and then went, "Oh, he's on my side." I took him to his daughter, and nothing happened.
Yeah,
and that disappointed me slightly, considering the level of detail that they normally put in. I was expecting
if it was just a little,
even just bowed or something,
even a little bit of dialogue going. I'm on the hunt. Stay here.
Well, people that you summon can't speak.
No, but just that little text box, just something.
Well, a gesture, a gesture,
a bow, a wave. Just something would have made that brilliant, and it's something that From Software normally do so well, and they just missed out on that chance.
Which there is a lot of that in Bloodborne. It does.
It's a bit more rushed.
It feels like there are certain things missing from it that they really. It's clear they had some other plans for it, like with the
Chalice dungeons,
and the Chalice dungeons, and the beasthood
statistic, which barely comes into the game. There was the shortcut between the bridge where the cleric beast was and the cathedral ward. I don't know if anybody's seen the giant in cathedral ward with the big ball and chain. You go down from there, and there's a treasure chest. There's a door to your right, and it just says closed. If you drop a shining coin on that door and then walk back to the cleric beast bridge, the door at the bridge has that shining coin. That's the door that's locked. There
should have been another shortcut.
There should have been a shortcut. Now, I think the reason that wasn't opened is because the cleric beast is technically an optional boss. It's a bit long-winded.
It's really odd that it's not part of the game. It's just well, it is part of the game. It's not part of what you need to do.
The only way to get round it, because you have to kill it to unlock the item to get into Cathedral Ward.
Do you?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You have to get that item to get into Cathedral Ward. You have to kill the cleric beast.
Okay.
There is a way around it. It's very long-winded, but it's possible when people have done it. And I think that's why they cut that door, because there was probably a glitch problem where people were opening that door, which then goes into a boss area, and the boss trigger is over there. And I think I don't know, but I would guess
maybe they put the boss there at a later date, and the game was going to be built differently.
I'm wondering if there was a glitch problem where people were going through that door, and then the boss was completely spazzing up because they hadn't killed it yet.
You often get these relics in games where things change so much. I mean, like the painted world in Dark Souls was the first level that they made.
Yes.
And then they went, it doesn't really fit, but it's really good. We like it, so we'll put it in like a little portal thing, so it exists on its own because it didn't really fit. And
but with
it's been really weird to try and put that somewhere. Because then where's it going to go? And it's the way it's built.
But with the feeling of lack of polish, they should have deleted the door. They locked it off, so they couldn't open. But just delete the door.
They do like their mysteries that can't be solved.
Yeah,
like
that's very true.
like the pendant.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would take the pendant, he said. I took the pendant and he did nothing.
I like a good mystery that can't be solved, but this is a mystery that can be solved because it's that door.
Because you can
and
see
it's
the
very
door
easy
through
to
it.
work out that it is that door.
Yeah.
That feels more like it got to crunch time and they went, bugger it, just lock it and we won't worry about it.
Which probably adds to the reason why Bloodborne feels like Dark Souls Light or Arcade Edition Dark Souls.
It's small.
It's a little bit.
It is a small game as well. I would definitely recommend Bloodborne. Do not think it's one of the best games that I've played so far. It's all From Software games have mostly been amazing.
Yeah,
I'd argue the Armoured Core ones are still very good if you're into that kind of thing. I think that's what it requires.
And the From Software game, as I refer to it, because they're all one game now. They're all worth getting. But Dark Souls, I'd agree. It is a better game.
Have I convinced you that it's a horror game?
Yeah,
I would say so actually now because thinking about it, there's a lot of times.
Thinking back to the memories of me just standing there in the that time before the bridge with the dragon on, and you get to stare at the sun, and you get to have a friendly chat with a knight, and he says, "Praise the sun." What's it? Solaire.
Solaire, nice.
Those
Solaire.
brief moments
I have a
of
Solaire
sunshine,
t-shirt.
and Anolondo, when you can see the sun and it's all beaming, but then it's all empty and horrific, and those fleeting moments of, "Yay, the world is nice," followed by a quick, "Oh, there's a dragon over there," or actually this entire city is deserted.
I feel sometimes you need the light to appreciate the dark.
Yeah, and that's something it did.
Bloodborne, I mean, literally, but it's unrelentingly dark. There's very few moments of light, which is why, I love the doll so much. Because she was kind of the light. There wasn't a lot else.
There wasn't any
much
beauty to counteract the horror. It's all grim Gothic architecture. It's all burning pyres and staked bodies. There's no, this is a really nice place, but it's empty, which is a bit creepy.
The Cthulhu, Lovecraftian stuff that it's based on are also that unrelenting demise and things like that. But you're right, horror tends to work better when there's that little bit of glimmer of hope. They can then snatch
more
away
subtle,
from it.
but ends up being
I'm a little bit nervous
horrific.
about having escaped now. I have to be honest. I feel like
they've offered us a glimmer of hope.
Yeah.
Only to do something.
Oh, that's a good point.
Absolutely terrible.
Okay.
Well,
cheers for that, Aaron.
Door's solid. I don't think we're getting through.
Maybe they haven't finished the level design yet.
I mean,
that counter's gone down to 0. Who unfollowed us?
Your mum unfollowed us.
She sat at home saying, Dark Souls isn't a horror game. I told him. I thought I'd raised him better than this.
So I presume, by its virtue then, you are looking forward to Dark Souls 3.
Very much so.
Are you worried by some of the concept art that's been released?
No. Should I be?
As in it looks like there's been a war in whatever city you are. There's bodies of state knights. Are you not concerned that perhaps they've gone a bit, look at this, there's been a war here and it's all a mess, rather than it's all empty?
Well, no, maybe not. I mean, it might give it a slightly different feel. You won't have all the desiccated corpses and such like.
It's not looking tonally inconsistent, so it should be okay.
I'm happy. I was worried about Dark Souls 2 when they said that Miyazaki wasn't running it, wasn't the director. This is Colin ruminating, chewing his cud over Dark Souls 2. I enjoyed Dark Souls 2.
Yeah.
I played more of it than I did Dark Souls.
Because it was easier to get into.
Yes.
It was friendlier.
I did want friendlier.
I'm hoping that Dark Souls 3 will revert back from what I've seen.
He's back. It's back to. I can't pronounce his name.
Miyazaki.
He is back at the helm directing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I'm expecting good things. The only thing would be is if it's very soon after Bloodborne.
Bring back parrying. Bring back parrying.
No, I don't care about parrying.
I care a lot.
I very rarely parry. I mean, Bloodborne was built around parrying, and I didn't really parry because I'm not
parried everything.
that good at it.
Yeah. I have to parry everything.
I was going to say I'm not a kind of Twitch gamer, but then I've completed far more of Super Meat Boy than you guys.
Yeah,
and that's very much reflexes.
That's because we were all parrying in Bloodborne.
We were learning a true skill, Brian.
Yeah.
You can only be a Twitch gamer with L2. You're really good at that one button, whereas I'm all right with the others, so it gets me through.
And as I recall, actually, my video of Ligarius got you through that fight.
It did, yeah, because I went, oh look, I could do that, because I wouldn't have even tried to parry him.
There you go.
I killed him first time and wondered what all the fuss was about.
Yeah, when I did my second playthrough, because my PlayStation broke and I lost all my file saves, I have the video saved, it was under a minute. Poor bugger, I ran at him, hit him, and then parried him 6 times and he died.
Oh, sad moment for Master Ligarius. Yeah. So, moving on.
Yeah.
We've talked about video games, we've talked about role-playing games. Probably should talk about board games.
Yes.
Now, we've said that we don't think they do horror particularly well.
No.
Rolling dice is never horrific, unless you put your mortgage on a dice game.
It's the story for me creates the horror, the tension, the fear, the scaredness.
Yes. And you don't...
Scaredness?
Scaredness? And you do words for a living.
Well, I attempt to.
Yeah, and there's not that... You get story in board games, but it tends to be a very small card that goes, you're in a mansion. Get out of the mansion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh. Which,
yeah. There is, I mean, Betrayal at House on Haunted Hill.
Betrayal at House on the Hill.
Yeah.
Betrayal at House on the Hill.
Betrayal at House on the Hill.
Is it not House on the Haunted Hill?
No, House. I'm sure it's.
Oh, it's about a house that's on a hill and it's
There's
being
a house
betrayed.
on a hill, everybody, and the hill's being betrayed by the house.
That attempts building a story during the gameplay.
Yeah, it does. But it's a randomised story.
Yes.
Therefore, like Dead of Winter, I feel tense and I feel nervous in a game of Dead of Winter. Actually, I feel a little bit scared sometimes that things will go wrong, but it's a different kind of tension.
That's failure and unsure of whether somebody's going to betray you at the last second, rather than, oh god, this is so bleak, I just want to turn it off and watch Care Bears until I feel better.
Who's your favourite Care Bear?
The lion one.
What's his or her name?
I haven't got it.
Well, you're not a true fan then.
Care Bears version 2. You're not even like the original Care Bears carer.
It's a lion, mate. It's a bear.
So it's not a bear? If it's a lion, it's not a bear.
Well, that's right.
Care lions.
He would not be constrained to his role in life. He pushed the boundaries and went, no, do you know what? I'm going to be a lion. Not cowardly at all. Yeah, you think about that.
That means Colin's actually announced himself as the most open-minded one of us, because a Care Bear doesn't have to be a bear, guys. Stop being so bear normative.
Yeah. Have you seen my new cat? It's actually a boost bar. But I've decided that it's a cat. I stroke it sometimes.
Well,
I put it in a bowl of Whiskers. Didn't eat it, but it's obviously just not hungry.
Well, I don't like cats, but I like boost bars. So
you don't like cats?
No, I've never liked
cats. I'm going off you.
That's why I enjoy GTA 5 so much.
I don't even want to hear it. This is the realms of true horror.
That's why I didn't finish the set. Make up your own mind, listeners, as to what goes on. But yes.
Yeah, Betrayal at House on the Hill, it tells a nice story. It has a nice twist. For those that don't know it, you play a group of assorted people that stumble upon this house, dive in to seek shelter, and you explore. You try to uncover what's going on. You uncover relics, strange arcane and occult objects, and then there's a handy book of 50 different scenarios based on when things go off and what item you've found in order to make it go off, where it happens.
Goes all a bit Cluedo, really, doesn't it?
A little bit, yeah. So if you find the skull in the furnace room, then it might then take you to a scenario with a bit of flavour text where your character picks the skull out of the furnace and does something. Whereas if you find the skull in the library, something else might happen. And they're all different horror tropes. So you've got kind of one that's werewolf based, one that's alien invasion based. There's a ghost story that happens, and one of the players becomes the betrayer. They go to a different room, they look in a different book, and they have secret objectives. You never know who it's going to be, because it might be the person who's done the best, it might be the person that's done the worst, it might be the strongest player, it might be the weakest player. So it mixes it up, so you can't play it in order to become the betrayer.
Yeah, because of betrayal, we'll never know that they're becoming that.
Since I, over these past few podcasts, seem to be the one that goes, no, you're wrong, I'm going to chip in with this one. I do now remember playing this game.
Well done, because we did ask you before we started the podcast, and you had no memory of it.
And that's what's concerning me. Now, I remember playing it, and I know I have played it, but I can't remember a single thing about it, which is making me wonder if I liked it.
Don't do drugs, kids. It's bad for you. Just like to point out, Colin, as far as I'm aware, doesn't do drugs. It's just just trying to be funny, and then realise I'd slurred your character in the most heinous way.
That's not typical.
Our Twitter account has gone up 1 though.
Oh, excellent.
Fantastic.
That's Colin's mum tweeting her concern.
Until she hears about my apparent drug problem.
And there it goes again.
But I don't really remember anything about the game. Now, was I half asleep, or did I just not find it interesting?
I don't know, I'm not you.
That's what
Thank the Lord.
That's what I'm finding concerning.
What I remember, the scenario we played had spiders in it. And meant, I think, you were the one that got attacked by the spider and infected with its babies. Which meant that one of us had to get back to you with some form of medical kits, or after gathering a sample by killing one of the other spiders that the betrayer was now playing, to resurrect you.
Which means you didn't do a lot for the end of that game.
And Brian was the betrayer.
Yes.
And was playing the spiders incredibly well and cornered us so we couldn't get anywhere near you.
I remember I spent 3/4 of the game sitting there going, I can't do anything till these guys get back to me. I do remember it now, and I remember it being really boring, but not... Everything everybody else seemed was interesting.
But you didn't get anything.
I just had to sit there playing Pokemon on my phone.
Now, that hasn't happened in the other games I've played.
Yeah, we've played half a dozen games or so.
So it's just me.
Yeah, the Alien Invasion one was my favourite one, actually.
Yeah,
the bacterial
we managed to mess that up and still enjoy it, but there was a sort of infection mechanic and such like that we messed up completely and gave the game
we've done that in other games like Dead of Winter.
Yeah, the problem with it is, of course, that because things are secret, if we got that one again, yes, I'd know how to do it properly, but also I'd know some of the mystery had gone. I'd know what people are trying to do.
But with 50 scenarios, the likelihood of that coming up is slim, and you're not likely to play a 4K 50 times.
If we did play it again, because I would like to play it again now that I recall. It seemed fun. I just didn't get to have any.
Yeah, because you played the I'm not going to say boring end of the mechanics, but exploring the house doesn't have that tension and dread that a horror game would normally have if it was like a video game type thing, because you just open flipping cards and looking at rooms and going, oh, what's this? And all shiny things, that kind of thing. It's not necessarily that's the most entertaining part of it. The entertaining part is when the betrayal basically happens and you've got to deal with whatever things. Yeah, and I
enjoy the exploring and building the house.
You open the door and you pull
it.
Again, yes, I remember now.
That's meant to be the twist.
Seeing that was interesting, but I didn't get
to do the really good bit
because I got stuck in a room.
You didn't really get to do much of that because your character got in the movement.
I got very quickly infected and could only move
one at a turn.
And so I just kind of
limped around,
shuffled, and I couldn't explore any new rooms or anything. I had to
You could, but you because you were moving so slow, you never got to any of the doors to really look at any of the other ones, and the betrayal happened quite quickly in that game.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to play it.
It is slightly hit and miss, but yeah, well, I think we need to play it again. The fact I'd want to play it again has lovely dice. It has its own unique custom dice with blank sides, single dots, and double dots that you roll with various things, and they clatter so nicely. They're very, very nice little things. It's like when we got really excited about boxes, isn't it?
Yes, we did get excited.
Some of our more saner listeners might think we've gone a little odd.
As soon as you start playing board games, you'll understand when you get the tasty pieces to play with.
Lovely velvet bags.
Velvet bags. That was my nickname when I was in a jazz band. I was a jazz bagpipist.
You know, someone's going on to Google and looking that up right now.
Can you hear that buzzing? Is that thing starting to? It's getting closer again. I should probably stop doing that, shouldn't I? So I mean, I hardly recommend that game. It's out of print for a long, long time. I was very glad to pick up a copy. It seems to be available again. So it happens with board games. They come in limited print runs.
Expensive
disappear.
Bill, aren't they?
There's because you've got the components and all that sort of thing. A lot of your cost isn't the development; it's the
game.
It's the game. It's like the anti video game where all the cost is up front, and then the actual item itself is a circle of plastic. You've got nice components, and I mean, Betrayal on House and Hill has little pre-painted miniatures for all the characters.
Yeah, I do remember it.
And a million tokens, because it needs all sorts of different tokens for all the different scenarios.
Yeah.
You end up digging through going, I'm sure there's a spider in here somewhere.
But there are other games that use loads and loads of token mechanics as well, so it's...
Yeah, it's not too tricky. It just takes a little bit of time. Sometimes you kind of have to reset the game up in the middle of it.
Yeah.
But I really I liked being the betrayer and going out and reading my little booklet in secret in the kitchen and going, how am I going to mess with it?
I've not got to do that, but I feel really jealous of it.
Yeah. Well, it's nice as the players because you can sort of gather together and you've got a common enemy and you're like, right, when he comes in, don't say anything. And it immediately induces that kind of that tension, that competitiveness. And then you're like, I helped him out last turn. No, I shouldn't have done that. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
One game I didn't enjoy, which was horror based.
Oh, I'm on your side for this one because I know exactly what you're going to talk about.
And I mean, we try not to dwell on the negative, but at the same time, I bought this game in a fit of I'm going to really enjoy this, and I didn't. And I'd like to warn people maybe a little bit. Was Arkham Horror, based on Lovecraft mythology. Big fan of. We talked about Call of Cthulhu for 47 hours earlier on, and really excited to play it. You play investigators in the town of Arkham, trying to stop portals opening up that will eventually suck Arkham through into another realm. You have a selection of different elder gods and mythical godlike monsters that can that you can fight against with different rules. You've got to either close all the portals or when the monster appears, try to fight it, which is almost impossible. It's got little story-based bits in it where you go to different locations and you flip a card, and it might be the old geezer in the pub. He's offering to sell you this cheap, or you meet this raving lunatic in the woods who's escaped from the asylum. What do you do? So much potential. One of the dullest games I've ever played.
So dull. I have played it once, and I remember this game very, very well because I've never been so bored in my life.
It's because a lot of it relies on quite random luck, and the more people you've got, the higher the likelihood is one person or two people will not end up with anything to do, or not have the ability to do anything because they haven't got the right equipment to cope with it.
I recall, we had 5 players. We had one guy that was killing all the monsters that spawned because he picked up the guns. We had someone else who was on the other side killing monsters with magic because he picked up all that stuff. And then I can't remember what you were doing, but me and Brian were sitting in the woods, going through cards, looking for items, and that was 2 hours of our life.
I'd say I remember Brian getting lost in went to the dream world. You get lost in there. If you die in there, you get lost in time and space for a little while before you come back.
And you miss a turn.
Miss a turn.
And I mean, that's something that's so 80s. It hurts.
That's right. You kept missing. You missed like 3 in a row because you kept disappearing, and I just sat in the woods drawing cards. I actually remember. And I will quite happily admit this, I wanted to get lost in the dream world because it would have been exciting. I was actually hoping...
You were looking forward to missing a turn.
I was deliberately, when they were telling me, don't look at that card because it might be a dream thing, I was deliberately going into the cards, hoping that one would be in the dream world, so I might possibly get lost for something.
Did I sell it or did I give it away? I can't remember what I did with it.
I'm sure you might have given it away.
I think I might have given it to a friend of ours.
Or did you sell it at the fantasy card?
I can't remember.
I think you might have
what I did.
Got rid of
I don't have it anymore.
No, I've still got it. Because I find it's one of those games, cooperative games quite often, you need to have more players, as long as there's not one person who's, what do you call it,
quarterbacking? Yeah, so basically running all the plays, telling everyone what to do. And the thing with Arkham, I've heard it described by other commentators, other people who talk about games, they shut up and sit down, mention this.
Yeah.
It's like a well-oiled machine. Stuff happens. The bad guys, the monster's turn is automated.
Quite.
Things appear at random. It kind of does that. And either you do the right thing to stop it, or it wins.
Yeah.
It's almost like a machine that you kind of sit there and go, okay, if you do that and I do this, we'll win. If not, we'll lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got to do that and I've got to do this.
Yeah.
Okay, so the person that works that out is essentially running the game and everyone else is kind of doing what needs to be done.
Exactly what happened in
and what we needed to be doing was very dull stuff in order to feed things and sort
feed
things
stuff
out.
to the other players who were actually doing the stuff.
So for you...
For me, the less players you've got for this game, the better. This is one of the very rare board games that works brilliantly as a single player game.
Yeah?
Yes.
Why isn't that a sad statement?
It is. It is a very sad statement, especially considering, much like Betrayal on the House on the Hill.
Betrayal at House on the Hill.
Has got millions of pieces.
It's like the Call of Duty debacle where we couldn't even remember what they were called. That was terrible.
Yeah. Arkham Horror has also got 1 million pieces, so setting it up takes an absolute age, especially on your own. But on your own, you're the one who's in control of it.
Yeah, there's about 14 miniature decks of cards in that game.
Yeah.
Nowhere to put them.
Tokens everywhere, and you need a huge cup for the monsters that you randomly draw, or a nice velvet bag if you fancy. I'm not. I use a giant coffee mug, and that's all I get. With a couple of people, it's okay, because you're constantly back and forth in, as long as you've got a couple of characters each. Because then at least if one of your characters misses a turn, it's not long before you get to play again and do something.
Or gets killed.
Playing it single player, you can change the difficulty by playing it with more or less characters a turn, but you're always constantly doing something. That you're always involved, that quarterbacking is, you playing the game, you working out the mechanic, you defeating it. At that point, the automation of the monster's turn is beautiful. You suddenly start seeing the simplicity and the cleverness in having these monsters move around the board just by a simple flip of a card. The little stories of the dream world are quite interesting because they're always involving you in essence.
Yeah.
Because it's you against the game and you're not being told what to do, it's quite fun. I quite enjoyed it the couple of times I played it. I was admittedly listening to some the radio play at the time while I was playing it, kind of thing. So I was testing it out before, because Laura wanted to play it, but my wife.
She wanted to work. You played a game to see what it was like.
Yeah.
You do realise you've just admitted playing the internet, playing a board game by yourself.
And I don't understand why that's such a problem, because we do it with video games.
We do it with card games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, video games are mostly a single player thing, and that's fine. But say you're playing a board game on your own, and suddenly you're.
Well, it does sound weird.
Don't get me wrong, board games are far better with more people as a general rule, but this one works.
One of the things they do well is that face-to-face interaction.
From what I remember of
there's
Arkham Horror, it definitely seemed like a game. There was 5 of us.
It seemed like a game, didn't it?
It seemed like a game.
But it wasn't. It was lying to us.
There was 5 of us. I think there should have been 3 of us.
3 it may have been better, but even then it can still be dull.
Too much.
Yeah.
I've played several games of it, and I wanted to like it, and when we didn't have a lot of variety and didn't have a lot of games, it was okay.
Yeah,
because you were going, we're playing a board game. This is nice. We don't do this very often. And that kind of helped you through.
If only we knew back then.
Now we've got 40 games to choose from, counting. It's bottom of the pile.
Yeah, there are much better choices for big player games.
I wouldn't be. I played it once, and I'm not interested in playing it again.
Yeah,
but genuinely, if you want to try out a board game on your own or want a game to play with your partner, I would say it's the good one to pick up for that. But
I'd probably get hold of it if it's just for me or for me and Mrs.
Yes, but for a group, avoid.
Yeah. On that particularly downbeat note,
that was very horrific of us. I feel.
It seems that
was a terrible pun.
Well done.
Oops.
That's Colin's made a pun. And
I don't know how a wooden puppet can get angry, but there's a weird scream coming down the corridor.
Is that the door?
Oh come on! I wasn't that bad.
Is it getting warm in here?
Yeah.
Are we?
Is that?
Take my clothes off.
Hang on a second.
What's happening?
Colin, your hair's starting to smoke. The door is boiling hot.
What? There's no way out of here.
Did a wooden puppet just set fire to things?
That's a genius. Well done, stupid haunted puppet thing.
I want to laugh, but we're going to burst to death.
The whereabouts of the members of the Critical Twits podcast is currently unknown. If you have any information, please visit their Twitter page, their website, and the other links below.